Great to have you this morning. Are Alphabet's results a signal of a broader reprieve for the Mag 7?
It could be, Madison, but it's also coupled, and thank you so much for having me. It's also coupled with ServiceNow, who delivered probably the best quarter they've ever delivered. Texas Instruments, who beat and then raised guidance. So there's something going on under the surface, and we have believed that the AI trade is early innings, that companies would continue to spend. We're seeing use cases explode, as I've talked with you about before, across sectors. One of my clients just got back from Las Vegas, and they said they barely have dealers anymore. Blackjack is done by machines. I mean, that's an interesting form of utilizing new technology. So I think, or utilizing technology, not necessarily new, but I think we're going to continue to see that. It may put some pressure on the jobs market, but I do think it bodes well for the companies reporting next week.
Nancy, as we're thinking about some of those companies reporting next week and really trying to assess what the investor checklist is for this environment where companies are having to acknowledge the present risk of tariffs. Of course, uncertainty is always there, but this seems more pressing for them to need to address when they are speaking directly with analysts and investors. What is that checklist that investors should be working through as they're assessing what that exposure looks like in their portfolio?
I think, Brad, there's one issue that every investor should be paying attention to, and that is guidance. Now, managements have no incentive to provide guidance because they have the perfect excuse in the tariffs. But we are hearing management teams saying things like, we're upholding or we're raising our guidance in the current tariff environment. The problem is nobody knows what that actually means from day to day. But I think you want to look at margins. Are they contracting? Free cash flow, is it continuing to expand? And then, of course, revenue growth is also important just because that's sort of a bellwether on the company's future. Because as we know, earnings can be, I don't want to use the word manipulated, but they can kind of be manipulated. So you really want to pay attention to the top line.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie until they do, Nancy. I am curious, from your perspective, you can talk to me a little bit about some of your 5 best stocks to buy in 2025. One of them on this list is Amazon, which of course is not completely immune to any impact of tariffs. Talk to me about your view on Amazon and your level of concern about tariffs and just broader economic uncertainty with a name like that.
Yeah, well, so I picked those names in December, but we're still buying Amazon because I think it's important to acknowledge their pricing power and their ability to influence their suppliers. So we've heard that the management's very confident about the retail side of the business. We know the cloud business is growing. Yes, they're going to be spending a lot on CapEx, but after CapEx, they're still generating about $100 billion in free cash flow. So I think it's important that they deliver some indication on what they're seeing in the marketplace. But we heard the bank, there's so many cross currents, Madison. We heard the bank CEOs come out and say that consumers not only were spending in the first quarter, they increased their spending, according to American Express, after tariffs were announced. So is that pull forward? Could be. But how much of that is it? And that's what we want to hear from Andy Jassy.
And so with that in mind, some of the other names that are on your list here, Spotify is one of them. And, I wonder your thesis around Spotify, especially as we've kind of heard some of the analyst commentary, look at names, platform plays like a Spotify, like a Netflix even, and try to assess how that would hold up on the subscriber basis and then grow out its business even more if we did see any hesitancy in consumers to pay further into those experiences.
Yeah, so when we put it in the list, and all of these stocks are in our 12 best ideas portfolio. So we also own Netflix, but it is not in that portfolio. We were assuming and believed and still believe that the economy is decelerating. We're not in the recession camp. I talked with Madison about that the last time I was in New York, which is about a month ago. But we do think things are slowing or will slow, even though the earnings are belying that. But again, I think some of that's pull forward. So where you want to go in that environment, many are arguing that you want to be in healthcare. We're there. You saw AbbVie's earnings this morning. Very good. It's our largest healthcare holding. But you also want to be in subscription driven names and entertainment in particular, where that's going to be the last place to go when consumers are cutting their budgets, and they're still working. Real wages are still improving. So I think these names, both of them, but in particular Spotify, which has been a monster performer for us, continue to have a decently long runway as we move forward into a decelerating economy. And then it's kind of an all-weather stock. Even when things are improving, people continue to utilize the service. And lastly, they've been very smart about opening up their platform, which is and allowing Joe Rogan to be viewed or listened to in other on other platforms. That has improved advertising, and that's what's going to continue to drive earnings.
Nancy, we can't let you go without asking about one name that you're adding to amid a lot of chaos, a slew of potential headwinds, and that is Tesla. Talk to me about how you're viewing this name, where you see it heading, and why.
Yeah, dreadful earnings, but Elon came on and said, "I'm back," and the street like that. So what we've always said is, yes, you have to sell EVs, but it's an AI play and it's an energy play. So our favorite part of the business is the Megapack electric utility grade business, and then if you look at full self-driving, it's on its way. I don't know if you've ever driven one, Madison, but I was a skeptic and now a believer. These are amazing vehicles, and as soon as I get a garage, which is on hold because of tariffs, I'm gonna get a Tesla and plug it in because they're amazing vehicles. But sorry.
No, please finish, Nancy.
No, I was just going to say, but they need vehicles to sell in order to continue to generate the data and all of the the AI necessary for full self-driving.
Sounds like you may have hit that ludicrous mode button in their Tesla experience, Nancy. Thanks so much for taking the time here with us this morning.
Thank you.